balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, goodness gracious, it's Friday. We've made it through the week. Another one. Congratulations to all of you that are there. Of course, I've got one more day to my week. That means tomorrow is tomorrow's show. So I've got one more day to my week. But hey, that's perfectly all right with me. Tomorrow it's supposed to be raining. So after the show tonight, I get to go and do some lawn maintenance. Anyway, there's Fat Paws. Heard about your wonderful news there, sir, earlier on this week. So congratulations to you. Okay. So let's go ahead and get these things started. Let's get this started. Get this party started. Anyway, let's go ahead and get Amy up. She is up for performing the Pledge of Allegiance. So please, if you are of mine, please stand. Remove your hats if you have one. If not, place your hand over your heart and join in with Amy Jean Viner in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And of course, thank you very much, Amy, for that wonderful rendition. Hey, if you want to get your rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance played here on the program, it's really very simple. All you have to do is record yourself doing the Pledge of Allegiance in your style, and then take that audio file and ship it off to me, sending it to my email address, fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. And that will get it put into the rotation for everything. So I do appreciate all of my Whiskey Warrior P1s and anyone else who decides to submit those wonderful pledges. I love hearing them. Of course, we start off the show with a pledge every single time. Well, unless I forget, in which case, anyway, I get reminded by my Whiskey Warrior pals. All right. Here we go. Oops, one more. All right, here we go. Tonight is sponsored by TGRN, True Grit Roots Network. Check out our 24/7, 365 TGRN Blues channel. Let me tell you about one of our wonderful programs and on-air personalities. The program is called From the Delta to Beale, and From the Delta to Beale showcases the music creators with roots in the Mississippi Delta and their pilgrimage to Memphis, Tennessee, which is the home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll. Featuring music from original craftsmen of this iconic sound, like Sam House, Willie Dixon, and the godfather of Delta blues, Charlie Patton. To those that followed in their footsteps, like B.B. King, Ike Turner, and the Memphis Juke Band. We explore the music from Memphis blues labels such as Sun Studios and Stax Records that spread their influence up the mighty Mississippi to St. Louis and Chicago, and of course west to Texas. From the Delta to Beale captures the humble beginnings of the blues and the dirty Delta to its widespread impact across the U.S. and beyond. Now, the funny thing about the Delta to Beale is it's playing right now. It airs Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time with an encore presentation, because I know you want to stay here watching me. So, stay here and pick up the encore presentation on Sunday at 9 p.m. Central Time. From the Delta to Beale is hosted by Memphis Mark Sonnerman and is a fantastic program. You guys should go and check it out. Check us out at tgrn.net. That's tgrn.net. And that will allow you to listen right there in your browser, or you can download our app to your phone through either iOS or Google, either one. If you already have an app like iHeartRadio, the Odyssey, AUDACY app, or the Live 365 app, you can find us in their catalog of digital radio stations. Just look up True Grit Roots Network, TGRN Blues, and you'll find us right there. TGRN Blues, home of the TGRN.net, home of TGRN Blues. You can check us out. We are based out of Austin, Texas. Oh my gosh, I screwed that promo up big time. I'll just charge the CTO for messing it up. Anyway, sorry. Well, speaking of messing up and causing just all kinds of train wrecks, Kamala Harris can't go anywhere. Can't go anywhere without causing a total mess. But before I get into that, I need to send congratulations to one of my Whiskey Warrior's daughter, Z. Z, congratulations on acquiring your job. That is awesome. She just finished passing her cosmetology test, I think is what it was. And so now she picked up a job. That was last week. And now she picked up a job this week. Fantastic for you, Z. Congratulations. All right. You're doing a lot better than Kamala Harris. I'll just tell you that right now. Anyway, Kamala Harris went on another friendly interview. And by the way, I guess a friendly interview. And I put that in air quotes because of the fact that, she won't go on a network that would actually ask her the tough questions. So she went on to the Oprah show and, after being, totally syrupy style introduced for that, she went ahead and sat down and was asked questions. Now they had some people in the studio, I think, ask questions. And then they had some people who were like calling in or on video or some strange thing. But anyway, let's just say that Kamala Harris, the real Kamala Harris, the Kamala Harris that we as conservatives all know and particularly do not love. And she went ahead and answered a few questions in what everybody would have expected. Now, the problem here, of course, is that the leftist sycophants can't seem to see through this style of talking that she has, which it basically is saying a whole bunch of words without saying anything of any substance and not answering the questions either that she's being asked. And so, anyway, let's just go ahead and listen to this first one. So this first one, she is talking apparently, or is going to talk apparently, to one of those video folks that had dialed in or got on the video screens, so on and so forth. So let me go ahead and bring that up. Just take a short listen. This really isn't that long. Just take a listen. Buffering. Why are you buffering? Shoot. Give me just a second. Let me correct this little problem with this scenario. Okay, here we go. All right. There we go.
We really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries.
Okay. So, anyway, well, the clip, unfortunately, the clip that was there, went ahead and cut off. It sounds like she was going to get into, some of her quote unquote policies, such as the price, what do you call it? The price gouging thing, or price gauging, whatever it was. Anyway, she started off, talking again about her wonderful, opportunity economy without actually deciding or describing, I should say, the entire, any little bit and piece of this. And once again, she's, talking out her buns. There's no other way for me to actually say it. Realistically. Now, they did on the Oprah show, they did bring up the whole, Amber Thurman, death, which I discussed last night, which the Amber Thurman, by the way, thing was, she actually did have a medical, medicine induced abortion. The problem was she died from complications and possibly malpractice by the hospital in terms of treating it. It was not necessarily because of Georgia's law with regards to abortion. She got the abortion legally, and it was the follow-up care that was the problem for her in terms of how she passed. But, that was one of the topics. And then there was another topic a little bit further on down, which she had the opportunity to discuss something. And, again, Miss Word Salad went ahead and created her word salad. So here, let's just listen to this.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's who we are. We believe in all that. And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Vice President.
Okay, so So that particular setup apparently was let me see if I can get this question. So yeah, it was filled with great emotions of great wisdom and emotions from Kamala, and of course, this is if she would actually believe in the stuff that she was talking about, she would learn that to leave us alone. Now, there was one point in the interview where she was discussing the fact that she was a gun owner, and her comment that responding back to Oprah, because Oprah was saying, "Oh, well, I didn't know you were a gun owner." And Oprah made that comment, and Kamala responded with, "Well, yeah, if you're coming in my house, I'm going to shoot you." She went and added an affect, another one of her fantastic affects, to go ahead and make that statement. But one thing that she doesn't seem to understand is she lives in California. California has one of the highest gun laws. And if she were to shoot somebody who came into her house, she'd end up in jail. Let's just put it that way. They do not have a stand your ground as far as I'm aware. They're certainly not Florida. So again, she's talking out her rear end. I'm actually really surprised. I would love to find out. I would love to have somebody ask her sometime, well, you say you own a gun. What do you own? And just see where she goes with that one. Anyway, again, all she does is she circle, talk, change, pull out the BS out her butt. Once again, this is just another one of those very friendly interviewee kind of things. And yeah, she does not have any particular idea. And in fact, CNN has a bit of a problem, or suggests that she has a bit of a problem, especially when it comes to male voters in particular. And male voters are peeling off of her campaign and are moving away. And they even brought up the idea that she is attempting, through this whole thing with abortion and so on and so forth, she is attempting to revitalize a connection with women, in respect to try and backfill from her losing the white men, or white men in particular, but also black men too, but not in as significant a numbers. But men, period, are, pulling away from Kamala and going over to Donald Trump. And so, yeah, I'm just having a bit of a problem with the entire scenario. So I just, I don't know how anybody can actually follow her and decide on her and think that she is just this greatest thing since sliced bread, because realistically she's not. So anyway, yeah. I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand how she can still be, how this race is even so close. It just is really questionable to me, in this entire situation. But anyway, so there you go. Another word salad, convoluted, never answering a question, straight on or anything else for Kamala Harris. It just isn't happening. Well, we all know that Democrats love taxes. There wasn't a tax that a Democrat didn't love. Somebody said that. I don't know who, but I know it wasn't just me. I heard it somewhere, so it had to have been somebody who said that. But anyway, the thing about it is that now apparently Democrats are so tax happy, and in particular in Michigan. Okay. In particular, out in Michigan, apparently, there's several Democrats who are now seeking to tax fun. Wait, what? They want to tax fun? No? Don't believe me? Check this out. Here in the Midwesterner, Democrats seek amusement tax to raise the cost of fun in Michigan. So this tax would apparently tax commercial entertainment, sports games, and movie tickets. So these Democrats in the state Senate are pushing for an amusement tax to ensure that Michiganders cannot have fun without paying additional fees. Although a Democratic attempt to pass an amusement tax failed to gain traction when introduced in 2019, the Democrat trifecta currently controlling state's governorship, House, and Senate increases the likelihood of this bill's passage, especially during the lame duck session between November 5th and January 1 of 2025. So according to a January Bridge Detroit report, efforts to tax fun were led by a Detroit City Council person, Angela Whitfield Callaway, who partnered with Senators Sylvia Santana and Senator Mallory McMorrow to push the bill in apparently Lansing, Michigan. Now, why did they go to Lansing? There is a point here. Detroit doesn't allow these taxes. So, yeah. Detroit itself within the city doesn't allow them. That would call for a constitutional amendment, apparently in the state of Michigan. I don't know how that worked out. But anyway, the point here is that they are looking to tax fun. The McMorrow, who's maneuvering to run for governor, by the way, in 2026, says, I am going to solicit feedback from all of my colleagues to have those conversations. Is it zoos or museums or minor baseball teams? What's the scale? What's the size to make sure that this is something that the majority of the legislature is interested in at least taking a look at? She said the fact that all the major sports teams have moved back into the city, now is the time to do it. It is a very different time than it was back during the bankruptcy. There's been a lot of energy and investment and emphasis on remaking Detroit and creating a sports and entertainment complex in the city. It's time that the city and the residents can benefit from that. So she's introduced an amusement tax bill called SB 235. And this was in 2019. That bill was referred to the Senate Finance Committee, but never moved forward. Well, now she's gone to Lansing lawmakers because amusement taxes, again, taxes on commercial entertainment, sports, games, and movie tickets, could not be implemented in the city of Detroit without an alteration to state law, which is what I was just telling you. So, why? Opponents of the bill say, so you're going to take a $10 hot dog and turn it into $15. Yeah. So, there's never been a tax that the Democrats don't like. So let's see. What else here? So, yeah, So anyway, that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. It's just these taxes. It's like, really? Ugh, come on. Now you're going to tax fun? I mean, it's not like tickets and things like that aren't already high because thanks to Bidenomics and Biden's Inflation Increasing Act that Kamala Harris signed was the final, signer or whatever, the final vote for it. But now they want to tax fun. Next thing you know, they're going to be taxing the air. Well, they already kind of do. I mean, they're taxing CO2 in some cases. Anyway. All right. Whatever. I'm done with these taxes upon taxes upon taxes. We're being taxed into oblivion, and that's the way that Democrats basically govern. All right. So, yeah, let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and do this. All right. Some of you may follow Dan Bongino, and some of you may follow Dan Bongino on X. Dan Bongino has had a consistent, shall we say, adversarial relationship with this woman on X who runs this organization called Check My Ads. That woman's name is Nandini Jammy. Now, Nandini Jammy and Claire Atkin, who are both of them are involved with this Check My Ads, have, especially Nandini Jammy, have attacked conservatives and conservative outlets such as Dan Bongino's Bongino Show. And what they do is they essentially go and they go to the sponsors of that show and they try to influence those sponsors to stop advertising with the particular shows. And they don't just do this to say Dan Bongino or anything else, but they've also targeted outlets such as Rumble, which I'm streaming on right now. And, well, this kind of thing, this thing's been going on for probably about a year now, maybe a little bit longer. And of course they, continually, shots across the bow. Dan Bongino has called her the cat lady and so on and so forth. And they've had this war on X that's gone on for a little while and things like that. Well, apparently, Nandini Jammy and Claire Atkin have now possibly stepped into the soup. Take a look at this article in the Federalist. Rumble scores discovery win in the defamation suit against the founders of the left-wing censorship organization. So what happened here is the Check My Ads founders started a campaign against Rumble and basically said that Rumble was getting its a majority, like a vast majority, I'm talking 90% is what they claimed, that 90% of their organization, of their advertisements were coming from Google Ads. And so anyway, what ended up happening as far as that goes, Rumble decided to sue for defamation. Well, they have now moved into what's called the discovery phase of that lawsuit. So in the beginning, they were the Nandini Jammies of the world were trying to get the case tossed. And apparently that hasn't quite been decided yet. But the fact that it's now that the judge has now said, well, Rumble, you guys can go ahead and start subpoenaing people and, asking for information from third-party sources, so on and so forth. It essentially makes it to where it's moving into what's called the discovery phase of the court process. So this is going to be very interesting. That's all I'm going to say with this. So the complaint itself has listed John Doe's 1 through 10, being Check My Ads, Media Matters, and or Dewey Square Group employees. And of course, Media Matters is the organization run by David Brock that targets conservative media outlets. Dewey Square Group is a Democrat consulting group, which, according to the complaint, provided an analysis of advertisements displayed on Rumble that were allegedly paid for by Media Matters and then used in a 2022 article that Check My Ads published. But it was actually an October 24th, 2023 article that Check My Ads ran that caused all of this. And so that article told readers the following. Rumble is heavily monetized by Google Ads. Rumble loves to boast about being free from big tech. In reality, the business appears to be heavily dependent on Google Ads, by far its largest advertising partner, and advertisers often have no idea that their ads are appearing there. Rumble is part of Google Video Partners, which means Google dumps inventory there that many advertisers assume is going to YouTube. And it seems to know brands wouldn't appreciate appearing next to some of Rumble's content. It has taken steps to minimize the risk of advertisers waking up to screenshots of their ads next to, say, Alex Jones' face. Its two-tier system for ads monetizes the worst videos through Rumble Ads, its in-house and platform, while featuring Google Ads on mainstream channels such as Reuters. Now, in addition to the article, Nandini Jammy showed this image and posted that without Google Ads, Rumble would not be viable. It gets its revenues by default thanks to 2 Google features, and it talks about it. But in this ad, it basically is showing the beach ball and stuff like that, and has also called, the Nandini Jammy X post calls out saying that it's criminal behavior by Google for that. Anyway, Atkins was a little more specific in her claims, tweeting that Rumble, the most toxic place on the internet, is 90% funded by Google Ads. So anyway, yeah, we're just going to have to see what this lawsuit does. Because Rumble's defamation claims actually focus on a different harm that defendants allegedly caused by falsely stating that Rumble is 90% monetized by and is economically dependent upon Google Ads. So according to the complaint, at the time that the defendants made those statements, Rumble's ad revenue generated from Google AdSense was minuscule, within October of 23, it totaling less than 1% of the company's total revenue. I guess you got to be careful what you say sometimes on the internet. So, according to the complaint, defendants acted with malice in making these false statements. Here, the complaint highlights interactions between Rumble and the defendants, which the plaintiff alleges shows they knew claims about dependency on Google were false. Rumble further alleges that Atkins and Jammy knew their claims were false because the duo were familiar with Media Matters' statement from 2022 that, quote, Google's ad network made up only 2% of total advertiser spending on Rumble.com in the last year. So in other words, they said something even though they knew it wasn't true. And so that's why they're getting sued. But the cool thing about this is going to be, what the heck are they going to find? What is what is Rumble going to find in the discovery phase? See, this is one of the things that, like I've been telling you about the whole, investigation into, say, Hunter Biden or into Joe Biden. It's not where the case ends up. We already know, like in the case of Joe Biden, he was never going to get impeached. We knew that. But what we didn't know is what was going to be found in between there and the time that it was going on. Now, the defendants had attempted to forestall any such discovery, but on Friday, the district court rejected their motion to stay discovery pending the court's ruling on the defendant's motion to dismiss. In doing so, the court noted that having taken a preliminary peek at the motion to dismiss, the court does not find it to be clearly meritorious and case dispositive. So, yeah. That is what's going to happen. Yeah. And arguments are set for October 9th in 2024. And by that statement that I just read you that the court put out, it's unlikely that their request of having it dismissed is unlikely to succeed. But between now and then, of course, Rumble can, according to the court, start asking questions of people and start digging for more information. This is definitely going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. And I think it's a good victory, to be honest with you. I mean, it's about time that we start hitting back on some of these things. So anyway. All right. In continuing down the line, you know what? Before I get into that, let me go ahead and do this. You see this fantastic shirt that I'm wearing? Look at this thing. It is patriotic. It's got an eagle. It's got some flying flag going. It's got the planes in a formation, so it's good for military. It's just absolutely awesome. You might be asking yourself, where in the heck did you get that fancy shirt? Man, that shirt makes him look good. I want one of those shirts for my own. Well, it's really pretty simple. All you have to do is go to theflagshirt.com. That's right. Theflagshirt, all one word, all lowercase, .com. And you can get shirts like this. Most of the time I'm wearing their shirts on the show. You need to go and check them out. They've got men's clothing, women's clothing, kids. They've got accessories, and all of it is set up in that wonderful red, white, and blue that we know and love. Go to theflagshirt.com, and if you buy $75 worth of their gear at one time, they will give you free shipping. But you know what? I understand you may not want to do $75 all at once. So I am helping you out here by giving you a $5 off coupon for your order. So theflagshirt.com, theflagshirt.com, at their checkout, take the code that you will receive from flagshirt.americanperspective.online and put that into their code at checkout. And right there, you can go and get $5 off your order. Go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, grab that code, copy it, and stick it in the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. That's right. Go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online and pick up that code. Put it in that promo code at checkout on theflagshirt.com, and you'll get $5 off your order. Go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized like me. All right. Well, you know, we had, I discussed this in a couple of episodes where we've always been talking about, you know, the violence that the left does. And the left keeps trying to blame that same violence that they are enacting upon on Republicans and conservatives. That's what they keep doing. Well, here's yet another example of leftist violence right here. And here it is. In the Daily Wire, Democrat donor has been arrested for threatening to kill 6 Supreme Court justices. 6 Supreme Court justices. Seriously? A Democrat donor was arrested this week for allegedly threatening to murder 6 U.S. Supreme Court justices and some of their family members. The U.S. Department of Justice announced yesterday that 76-year-old Panos Anastasiou sent more than 465 messages to the Supreme Court through a public website that is run by the court. The messages, which were sent from March 10th, 2023, all the way through July 16th of 2024, escalated to messages intending to threaten harm toward the victims, the DOJ said. The messages contained violent, racist, and homophobic rhetoric, coupled with threats of assassination by torture, hanging, and firearms. Now, court documents that have been filed said the threats were intended to intimidate Supreme Court justices 1 through 6 and retaliate against them for official actions Supreme Court justices 1 through 6 had taken in their official capacity as federal judges. Yeah. But it's the right guy. I mean, it's conservatives. Conservatives are the ones that are doing all of this. Conservatives are the ones that are pushing and putting out the violent rhetoric and attacking people. Yeah, right. Right. Now, prosecutors, of course, did not name the justices who were the targets of the threats, but 6 are considered to be conservatives. The other 3 are considered to be liberals, Democrats. Yeah. Okay. So prosecutors have now charged this guy with 9 counts of making threats against federal judges and 13 counts of making threats via interstate commerce. If convicted of all counts, this guy faces up to 155 years in prison. 10 years for every count of threatening the judges and 5 years for every count of making threats via interstate commerce, which I would imagine is the email. Attorney General Merrick Garland said, "We allege that the defendant made repeated heinous threats to murder and torture Supreme Court justices and their families to retaliate against them for decisions he disagreed with. Our justice system depends on the ability of judges to make their decisions based on law and not on fear. Our democracy depends on the ability of public officials to do their jobs without fearing for their lives or the safety of their families." Now, where was Merrick Garland when Chuck Schumer was standing on the steps of the Supreme Court and threatening Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and, some of the other threats that were coming while the Dobbs decision was being deliberated? Where was Merrick Garland then? Yeah, I just have a problem with this. This just doesn't make sense. Well, according to the Federal Elections Commission records, this guy had donated 82 times to various left-wing causes and Democrat candidates, dozens of times on the Democrats' fundraising platform, Act Blue. Well, let's see. We had a shooter in Butler, PA that donated via Act Blue. We had a shooter not too long ago on a golf course that had a Biden-Harris sticker on the back of his truck, and also was staunchly against Trump. Now we have this guy. Where are the, not that I'm looking for them, but where are the Republican ones that are making it into the news? Where are the conservative violence and things like this happening? It's not. I mean, it's just not it's certainly not at the level. I'm sure it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's happening, but I don't think it's happening at the level of stuff like this. This is just crazy. And for the leftist mainstream media to go ahead and not call this out, by the way, and not call this out and say, hey, guess what? Maybe we might want to tone down our rhetoric a little bit. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries posts every single day on his X account, extreme MAGA Republicans. Okay. Yeah. This is wild. This is crazy. These people, we need to get back to more of an even keel, and the left is definitely the one that is shifting the boat and rocking the boat to a incorrect side. This is just disgusting and horrible. Okay. Well, Biden, of course, with that 0.5 point drop in the interest rates that the Fed gifted Kamala Harris, just the other day, the 0.5 point that was there has kind of, and again, for those of you who don't necessarily pay attention to when the Fed announces this stuff, they mention that they see a softening in the job market. Well, it turns out that they're not wrong in thinking that way. And CNBC picked up on it and pointed it out. There was a report by a group called the Challenger Group. Let's see, where's the rest? It's an outplacement firm called Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. And they reported yesterday that layoffs actually soared in August, and hiring in 2024 is reached a historic low. Layoffs hitting their highest total for the month in 15 years. So announced job cuts totaled just under 76,000 for the month, lurching 193% higher than what was announced in July. Though the total was just 1% higher in that same month, than the same month in 2023, it was the highest number for August going all the way back to 2009, as the economy was still escaping from the worst of the global financial crisis, spurred on by the housing bubble. On the hiring front, companies said that they were adding just over 6,000 new workers, up by nearly 2,500 since July, but down more than 21% from August of last year. The year-to-date hiring announcements of nearly 80,000 is the lowest total in history, going back to 2005. So, hang on. So apparently the job market is softening. And this is part of why the Fed has decided to do that 0.5 point interest rate cut, because they seem to believe that cutting that interest rate by that 0.5 point is going to push the more money into the marketplace. So anyway, yeah, it just, it's, yeah. So the, the report comes here from the piece in CNBC. The report comes with concerns rising that the labor market is weakening, even though the U.S. economy is seeing growth of $1.4 million in non-farm payrolls this year. Payrolls processing firm ADP reported Wednesday that private companies just added 99,000 workers in August, which is the smallest gain since January of 2021. So there you go. Our job market is weakening, and that's not a good thing. So, anyway, so markets are expecting the softening jobs picture to prod the Federal Reserve into lowering interest rates later this month, which of course that already happened, even with the inflation running higher than the central bank's 2% target. So anyway, there you go. This is not a good thing. Some of it's good, some of it's not, and we're still dealing with this entire situation. I just can't, I don't understand why people seem to think that the economy is doing really well. And actually, I was watching a video on the economy, and it had to deal with it was a comparison by the Tax Foundation between the two potential tax plans by Trump and Harris. And what this gentleman was saying about those two is the fact that the Harris plan, we're looking at potentially losing up to 2% GDP over 10 years if she implements her tax plan. Also, we could lose up to 800,000 or close to 800,000 jobs under her tax plan. And also that doesn't include things, they kind of like, we're looking at things like the capital gains tax, which they admit was going to kill innovation and kill growth in the marketplace. They were also looking at her plan for giving out $25,000 on real estate, new buyers, and that kind of thing as well. And they're saying that all of that is going to be a challenge under her plans. Now, to be fair, they also pointed out that the Trump plan is still not quite fully built out yet because it kind of depends on which little pieces and parts that he is going to implement as to what the actual result is. But they did mention that the tax plan was going to, was essentially going to make it to where it was almost a wash, meaning that it was neither going to be good nor bad, unless, of course, you're talking about wages, which wages were going to go up, according to them, based off of the tax plans. And the reason why they were talking about the Trump tax plan being neither bad nor good is because Trump is actually just shifting things from the income tax over to tariffs. And so the tariff situation, well, let's just say, according to them, it's not going to be all necessarily all that great moving forward. So, now what he did also say, by the way, is that the analyst who happened to be on, I believe it was Fox, who was saying this, but the analyst was saying that while both plans talk about lowering taxes, basically all it's doing is it's just manipulating the tax code. It's actually not necessarily doing a, a physical lowering of taxes. And changing the tax code to enshrine it specifically within the tax code, but that it's just a manipulation of the tax code, meaning shifting things around rather than doing an actual tax cut. Now, obviously, if you listen to Trump says that he's going to cut taxes on corporate taxes, which of course this analyst was saying is a good thing. But the challenge here is what he was saying is that the increase in tariffs may wipe out any gains that we might get from those tax cuts. So essentially, neither plan is really 100% the best, according to this particular analyst. But the reality of it is that, well, basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to see what they do with spending. Spending is really the biggest problem that we have right now. Other than, of course, Kamala Harris raising taxes on certain things like on corporations and things of that nature is going to kill the economy. And that's basically the message that he was attempting to get out. And I had serious problems paraphrasing right then. So there you go. All right. We know about moving over to the international desk. We know about the pagers that blew up, the radios that blew up, and Hezbollah decided to get a little pissy with that, and they sent about 140 missiles off to Israel, which of course Israel did what Israel does. And now apparently the IDF has struck Beirut after that missile volley. And apparently there was a person named Akil, Aqil, who has reportedly died. So the Middle East is just heating up. It just is. And realistically, I mean, anybody with a brain knew this was going to happen. The closer that Gaza and Hamas got to being essentially wiped out was going to be a bit of a problem. But yeah, here we go. So things are starting to heat up over there, and now Hezbollah is mad about this and claiming war. The gloves are off. So yeah, this is just going to get worse before it gets better. And of course, all of this is happening prior to our election, which is going to cause whoever gets into office a bit of a headache and a heartache for that. All right, folks. That's pretty much it for me for tonight. I've hit my hour. Do me a favor, if you would, please, and you haven't done this already, head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. It is free. And once you sign up, search up the American Perspective channel and make sure you hit that green follow button to be notified every time that I go live. Also, too, hit all of those thumbs up, likes, etc. on every platform that you are on, because of the fact that helps increase the rankings of these videos and helps increase thereby my exposure across the globe. I'd like to grow in this broadcast. We will see you tomorrow night, 1 hour later at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, because it is Saturday night. And don't forget those questions for the week. Question of the week. I still don't have one. So if you want me to do a question of the week tomorrow on the program, you're going to have to get one over to me. Yeah, we will see you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great rest of your evening. Good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.